me around the rock. Please hot me around the rock. Please hot me, Lord, all on the day. Put the rock right out. I can't hide the rock right out. I can't hide the rock right out. I ain't gonna hide you down all on the day. All on the day. Say, rock, what's the matter with you, rock? Don't you see I need you, rock? Don't you know all on the day?
When I was just a little boy, I asked my mother, what will I be? Oh, will I be happy? Will I be rich? And this is what she said to me. She said, que sera, sera. Whatever will be. Future's not ours to see. No, no, no. Well, when I grew up and fell in love, I asked my baby what lies ahead. Oh, will there be sunshine day after day? And this is what my baby said. Sing it! She said, que sera, sera. Whatever will be. Future's not ours to see. No, no, no. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be. Future's not ours to see. David Allen. Now I have children of my own. They ask their mother, what will I be? They say, will I be handsome? Will I be rich? Will I get to go to the camp in Peachtree City? I tell them tenderly, que sera, sera. Whatever will be. The future's not ours to see. Hey, 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 hey. Que sera, whatever will be. The future's not ours to see. Hey, sera, sera. Oh. Whatever will be. Everybody say yeah! 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 Yeah!
Okay, ding dongs. If you don't subscribe to Jeremy Eisen Fire, you're gonna spend the night in the box.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome one, welcome all to a very special edition of our From Season 4 Fan Theories. I've been looking forward to this one for a little while because the fan theories in the Discord have really been stacking up, and some of the best ones I've ever seen. Like, Absolutely
Yeah.
insane. So tonight we are going to take a look at them. We're going to take a look at the Discord fan theories that you guys have been putting so much work into and that we have been reading and been super impressed with. And I can't wait. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys are cooking up because I hear, PM tells me there's some really good stuff in there. And the little bit of scanning I did, I can concur. It looks like there's some good stuff in there. And we do have some new stuff to talk about too.
We do.
There's been some interesting developments on some of these chairs that they have been showing us,
Oh, yeah.
these director chairs. We were wondering what was up with the symbol. Why is the symbol different all of a sudden? And I believe you said Jostin had a pretty good answer for it. And I 100% agree after hearing that and looking at it myself. I'm like, okay, that's why it's changing from season to season. We got season 2, 3, and now for season 4, we have an actual 4. So we'll pull it up here and take a look at that. We have a new Man in Yellow painting, which is very intriguing because it's a lot different from the first Man in Yellow painting we got where he was super young and still clean and wasn't a big old mess. This one looks a lot different. He looks a lot younger. He looks a lot older here, a lot more disheveled, a lot more like we see him in on the show. So we're going to take a look at all of that. And of course, we want to hear from you guys throughout the evening as well. Let us know your thoughts and your theories. We want to know, what are you guys thinking heading into season 4? And what are you guys hoping to see? I think season 4 is going to be like the worst season possible. Not worse as in quality, worst as in the people of Fromville are going to be put through the worst this season in season 4. Because if they really are aiming only for 5 seasons, and it seems like they are aiming for 5, you have to have the darkest part right before you get to the end. And hopefully, you know, a good triumphs over evil. But you never know with a show like this because it's so unconventional. But I definitely see season 4 being their darkest season yet. I think they're going to have the most. Season 3 was bad. It's going to be tough to throw worse shit at them than was thrown at them in season 3 with the winter and the town just doing everything they can to break Boyd and all kind of successfully breaking Boyd in some areas. But I think all of that is going to pale in comparison to what we're going to get in season 4. I think season 4 is going to be the darkest one yet.
And I mean, do we ever have a good time in From?
No.
I feel like that is a show that if you binge watch it, you will find yourself that every single episode, it's like tragedy, a super bad time. There is little to no levity, really. So they've never had a good time.
No.
Is it going to be the worst time? Probably, right? We need a good all hope is lost moment.
Yeah.
It has to come to that before somebody saves the day, hopefully, right?
Hopefully.
Somebody saves the day.
Hopefully. And I do worry about that at times, considering how different this show has been, how unconventional it's been. I wouldn't be too surprised if good doesn't triumph over evil in this show. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we have a little bit more of a bitter ending, or at least a bittersweet ending. I'm not expecting everything to just be good triumphs over evil. Something is going to be thrown into the mix that we're not expecting, I think. John Griffin has been pretty good up until this point in terms of keeping us on our toes, not really knowing where this is going. Just the way that he writes, the tragic nature of a lot of his characters. I just don't see this being one big happy ending. I don't think that's possible.
But then again, we don't want a whole like lost, replay of that, where nothing happened, or everybody thinks that they were dead, or it wasn't really a thing. So, I mean, I would like to believe that they learned from that situation and they're going to give us like something solid where we know that's the ending. They're not going to leave it open-ended. Hopefully.
Not as ambiguous. Yeah, maybe. I think it's, I'm not expecting a good ending for our people in Fromville. I really am. I'm worried for them. And I think we're going to lose a lot of them in season 4. As bad as season 3 was, losing Tien Chen and Jim. I know not everybody liked Jim, and the Tien Chen death definitely hit us a lot harder just because she was the sweetest character on the show. But I liked Jim. Like I didn't love Jim, but I didn't hate Jim. Like some, and that's totally fine. Like a lot of people don't like Jim. Nothing wrong with that. But I saw a lot of growth in Jim at the end of season 3.
Mm.
He was finally growing as a person, an individual, and as a husband. And you could see he was finally seeing things through Tabitha's point of view. Wasn't looking at her as she was something that was broken and needed to be fixed. He was finally starting to get a breakthrough there. He's getting some good character development. And usually when that happens on a show like this, that character is not long for this world. But I thought Jim, he at least went out the best way he could, having the best growth of the entire series.
I feel like he did get something on Jade. When we started, Jade was the smartest one, right? Yeah. And that's what mattered to Jade. He's like, I'm smart, I'm an asshole, but I'm smart and I'm hilarious and everybody likes me. Like, he just had this confidence about being the smartest person in the room at all times. Yeah. And for Jim, his confidence came from having a wife and children and a family.
Being a provider, a protector.
At the end of the day, it was really Jim who solved the puzzle.
Yeah.
He looked at it. It took him like a couple of minutes, and he's like, "These are musical notes."
Yeah.
Right.
Right away.
So he solved the puzzle. So he proves that in that room, he was the smartest person in the room.
That time he was.
And yet Jade keeps the family. It's almost like they switched, right?
Oh my God! Yeah. Shit.
Yeah.
Like,
and I like Jim.
I do. I mean, I think, again, he was very flawed. He had problems. Yes, I'll be the first to admit that. But that's what I love to see about character, in characters. I don't want to see characters that are just perfect. I want to see characters that have flaws, that have a little bit of damage in them, because those are the characters that you see go on the best journey, or at least the most kind of profound journey, dealing with their issues and hopefully coming out the other side a better, more evolved version of themselves. But if you're perfect already when the show starts, it's like, where is there room for growth? So I don't like perfect characters. I like my characters with a little bit of damage, and even with a little bit of a possible redemption arc. Like Randall. Randall's one of the most intriguing characters for me, because he's so interesting and he has so much room for a really big redemption arc if they want to go that way. So yeah, I don't like my characters polished. I want my characters to be a little bit damaged. It leaves the most room for growth. And
that's actually a super great question. Chat, do you guys like Jim? And if you didn't, after his redemption, right? After he had this beautiful show of growth, do you still not like Jim? If you don't like him, tell us why. Because I'm interested in knowing somebody who watches that and still says no,
and
fuck
still
Jim.
Him, fuck Jim still. Yeah, and I'm sure there's some, and that's totally fine. But yeah, I feel Jim will appear as a ghost in season 4 with answers. Now that's one thing I'm wondering if we're going to see. Have we, up until this point, we haven't seen any ghosts. Now we do know there are spirits there, though. Sarah clearly communicating with these disembodied voices that are most likely spirits of former people that have been in Fromville before. So we know that there is some kind of afterlife activity here in Fromville, but we've never actually seen a ghost avatar. It's usually only one of our characters getting a message or a dream. But that would be interesting to see Jim show up in the flesh. Not in the flesh, but an actual avatar version of Jim.
Yeah. Well, what do you consider Tom and Katre? Are they not ghosts?
That's the thing. I mean,
because if you're a spirit and you're dead, you're a ghost.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Tom and Katre technically could be ghosts.
And I like that, Justin, because if we have a pattern there, right? We have Katre, we have Tom. Yeah. There's a pattern telling us that it's a great possibility. I think Justin might be right, that we get Jim as a ghost.
Maybe.
And while I like Jim, I would love to see Jim as a ghost, haunting Jade and Tabitha as they're getting to know that they were soulmates and all of this. Can you imagine?
My God, a haunted existence for poor Jim. And that's another thing. Where are Tabitha and Jade going to go? Are they? Part of me has a feeling they're not going to ever get romantic. I would hope not. See it happening. It could. I mean, who knows? But I'll be very surprised, at least, I'll say. I'll be super surprised if Jim and Jade, if Tabitha and Jade become an item, if they start becoming romantically involved. Yes, they might have remembered that they're reincarnations of previous people that were once married and had a child together. But I mean, it didn't seem like Miranda and Christopher were an item. But then again, there's still so much about that time period we really don't know. So I suppose maybe it could have been. But we do hear Miranda telling Victor, apparently, hide somewhere where Christopher can't find you. That doesn't scream to me that Miranda and Christopher were, entrenched. I'll be very surprised at this point if Jade and Tabitha, hook up. I'll be very surprised.
Yeah. And I wouldn't want them to.
No,
I feel like if we leave all jokes aside, right?
Yeah.
Because it would be hilarious for Jim to, if we leave that aside, I wouldn't like them to get romantic because they kind of had a good back and forth, like a friendly back and forth, like a banter.
Sister. It felt more like brother sister.
Yeah, it was not romantic, and that's what made it, fun, right? Yeah. I hate when there has to be like a romantic storyline to everything.
Yeah, there doesn't always have to be.
We don't
people
need it.
People can just be friends.
Yeah.
Like people can just be friends.
Literally.
There's nothing wrong with that. I just feel like they work better that way. They have better chemistry. Like they solve problems together pretty well. Like they work well together. They have chemistry, but it's friendship chemistry. It doesn't feel like romantic chemistry, at least not to me anyway. But who knows? We'll see. But it looks like we're not alone. Looks like we have some other people in the chat that aren't Jim haters. Christine, poor Jim. Elizabeth, I liked Jim. I think he was just a scared guy trying to make the best out of a bad situation and keep his family together. And that was a big problem with him. That was it in a nutshell. It was him trying to hold on too tight. He's trying to hold on to his family and keep them safe too tight to the point where he was smothering them. And he was becoming a bad husband and not a great father as a result. He was wound too tight. So I do think that's a part of it. He was holding on a little too much. Catherine, Jim fan too. Awesome. Justin, also a Jim fan. Samuel Belkey. Jim was a flawed man, but I liked him. And that's kind of my view on him. It's like he had some flaws, absolutely. But I liked him as a character. I did like Jim. Jim wasn't perfect. He did have his asshole tendencies for sure. Tabby was even worse though. Well, it's funny that I do see that that sentiment a lot. Like there are a lot of people out there that think Tabitha is just as bad, if not worse, than Jim. And there are some arguments that can be made that point to Tabitha being not the best either. Like you look at the more we started to learn about their background and the fights that they were getting into, like how they ended up where they were at the beginning of season 1, like everything that happened before the show started. You start to learn okay, it wasn't just Jim. Tabitha was doing some stuff too. So,
I mean, we all remember the iconic fight. The toxic relationship iconic fight, right? Yeah. Where it got to the point where even the monsters were like, we can't take this anymore, guys.
Shut up.
Stop. They were like, you are toxic. At this point, this is dangerous and toxic.
Yeah. Even the monsters got sick of hearing them bicker. But it's Jim gets a bad rap, I think Jim gets a bad rap. I always like Jim because he was looking for logical answers. The man, and that's the thing. He's a man of science, as David says here, which I 100% agree with David. And that's I liked Jim's approach, especially in season 1 and in season 2. He had that very scientific approach because that's what he knows. Like when you're in an extraordinary situation that you can't quite quantify, you're always going to rely on what you know. And I think Jade was trying to do the same thing. Jade was also trying to approach this from a man of science standpoint. Now, Jade opened up his mind and broadened his horizon a lot earlier than Jim because Jade was played with the symbols. So Jade saw right from the very beginning, there's something, this is different. This is something that can't be explained, or I can't explain. This isn't normal physics. This is supernatural. So Jade was able to kind of open his mind up a lot sooner than Jim and started to look at things from a practical standpoint, but like a mystical standpoint as well, trying to solve the symbol. So Jade was lucky in that sense that he got exposed to the supernatural aspect of Frumville a lot sooner than Jim did. Jim was just kind of, ones and zeros, man of science. Let's build a radio. He relied on what he knew. Let's build a radio and try to get a signal out.
I like how you describe that because here from the family, David, Adriel, 81, he's very much like that. So I'm glad that you make that comment, because he has been in the Discord, and it's very much about like the symbolism.
Yeah.
And like he knows
Yeah.
all of the background of, you know, what spiritual thing can be connected to from.
Mhm.
So I like that you point that out.
Yeah.
And join the Discord, you guys. If you haven't, it's super fun.
There's a lot of good stuff in there. I mean, and it's not just from stuff. I mean, there's tons of shows that we cover here on the channel. There's categories for all of them, but From is the main one. I mean, it's there's more From channels than anything else in there, and I like it that way. From is our main show, and From has the coolest audience. Like out of all of the shows, like I cover a lot of shows. So you get, when you start covering multiple shows like this, you start to get a peek into other fandoms out there. And I can say without a doubt, the From fandom is the coolest fucking fandom I've ever come across, and the nicest fandom I've ever come across. Some of these other fandoms from some of these other shows, it can get nasty, like straight vitriol being thrown back and forth, but you never get that with the From crowd. So I love that.
Yeah, the Fromily really is. I love that it's Fromily, because you guys really do behave as a like family. You're so nice, so welcoming. I never see any hatred, anything like that,
From
other than for Jim. And I must say, Chad, I'm looking at your replies. I'm really surprised, because your chat used to be like that I hate Jim chat. And now it looks like everybody, you know, the show went on hiatus and everybody likes him now.
Or all the Jim haters just aren't here tonight. Maybe.
Right. They'll speak up later.
Yeah. Once the show starts, we'll have a lot more people in here, and I'm sure the Jim hate will return.
Yeah.
We'll see. We shall see. But David thinks we won't see Jim ever again. Now, that's an interesting possibility as well. A lot of people are just assuming that at some point, Julie will continue to story walk, continue to return to that moment in hopes of trying to save Jim over and over again. And I think that's an interesting storyline, potentially, like her having this feeling like she's destined to fail. No matter how many times she goes back, early, same time, no matter what circumstances she tries to change, she's just like destined to fail over and over, and just destined to watch her father die over and over again. But I know there are a lot of people out there that think Julie is going to save Jim at some point. I'm with you, David. I don't know. I'm leaning a little more towards, I don't think we'll see Jim again either.
I mean, I really like the idea of him being a ghost.
Yeah.
I really like that idea.
Yeah. Like a Cotchery type thing.
But what would he do, right? Like, what information does he have?
I could see it being in like one of these ways where Tabitha is going to be a mess. She's going to be incredibly distraught. She's going to be just, I mean, how would she not be incredibly grief-stricken, especially considering like her relationship was getting so good just as Jim died. Like Jim was really evolving. He was really coming around. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a point in season 4 where Tabitha wants to give up, where she just wants to give up, where she has reached the end of her rope. She has no motivation. She's just full of grief. Even the idea of knowing that her children are here and that her children meet her, even that isn't enough to pull her out of it. And then Jim shows up right at the right moment and tells her, hey, no, you can't give up. You need to keep going. You started something and you need to solve it. I could definitely see maybe something like that happening, where she just gets to complete rock bottom, and Jim is the one thing that can lift her up when he kind of appears to her.
I like that idea. And to add to that, we do have precedent for that. If we recall, Julie was really upset with Tabitha to the point where she didn't want to be near them, right? She picked Colony House because she didn't want to be next to Tabitha at all. And her reasoning was that she had left her. When her child unfortunately passed away, she left Julie to deal with Ethan, right? That was her big issue with her parents, that she had to become the adult. So we do kind of have precedent as to how Tabitha handles stress or grief. She doesn't handle it. She kind of lets the children, you know, a little neglectful, maybe.
A little bit neglectful. I mean, because and even Nick points out, Tabitha basically kind of went on a little mini vacation when, you know, her daughter was in a coma. Yeah. She does take off at some inopportune times, absolutely, when she has 2 small children, or at least 1 small children and 1 teenage child to take care of, which is not easy in a place like this, I would imagine. I mean, I don't know. I don't think Jim's ever going to get brought back to life. I know there's a lot of theories going around, like at some point she'll learn how to save. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think if we do ever see Jim, it will be a little more along the lines of a Katri or Tom apparition thing showing up. I don't think Jim's ever going to come back and rejoin the cast. I think he's gone. And you even hear like the actors talking about how much they're going to miss working with him on set and stuff like that. Like, it seems like he's gone. Yeah, he could pop up for a cameo, but I think that's about it. I don't think it'll be any more. I agree. Eloise escaped via story walking, and Jim will be Ghost Jim. Who will Jim appear to is the question. Yeah, I think if he's going to appear to anybody, I think Tabitha is probably the best bet. Julie would be probably a good second choice. I think Tabitha would be the best choice. Him kind of showing up when she needs that kind of little boost of motivation the most. But I think him showing up to Julie could be interesting as well. It's got to be one of those two.
And Robert Saunders, right? We're going to read some of his theories.
Yes.
And thank you so much, Robert Saunders, because he really is a team player. He has been working with Nick, with Justin. A lot of, other people have been independently talking about the show and creating these like really elaborate theories. And we're going to read some of his theories, but he mentions a little bit of one in there about Eloise escaping via story walking, right? We still don't know, is she alive or dead? They've told us she died, but
I don't trust it.
We're just not accepting
I don't trust it. No, they're leaving that small little room of that door open just an inch to give that little bit of ambiguity there, where Victor thinks he buried remains that was Eloise. He thinks it was Eloise, but the pieces were all torn up and he couldn't really tell. I'm sorry, if you're leaving that little room for doubt, it's because there's something more there.
There's something there.
You don't continuously be ambiguous just to be ambiguous. There has to be a payoff after a while. So I don't think Eloise died that night. I'd be very surprised if she's been dead this whole time. That would be the biggest red herring in TV history. That would be such a massive.
The family is going to be furious. And chat, answer the question: do you think that she's dead? Or did she escape via story walking? Is she a story walker? What do you think?
Yeah, could. Well, I mean, I think it would make sense if she could have story walking abilities, because we know that she's the daughter of Tabitha.
Yeah.
And Eloise is the daughter of Miranda, Tabitha's previous incarnation. So maybe every incarnation of Tabitha has a story walking child.
I like that.
Maybe.
Okay, so we're looking at a lot of story walkers then, potentially.
Maybe one every generation. This generation is Julie. The last generation, maybe it was Eloise, and whatever the generation was before that, maybe there was another one there. Maybe Tabitha, just the very nature of who she is. She might not have powers or abilities or anything like that, but she is a supernatural being when you think about it. Reincarnation is supernatural. That's not normal. So if she's reincarnating, she's got something extra inside of her. What's to say that doesn't pass on to her kids when she has kids and they kind of develop story walking abilities, maybe?
It would make sense. Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, I think Eloise being a story walker, I love that theory. I think that theory fits incredibly well, because it seems like she just disappeared. We finally got the flashback to that night of Miranda's death, Miranda running to the tree. And Eloise wasn't in sight anywhere. I mean, maybe we'll return to that scene at some point, and maybe Eloise was there. We just didn't see her. Maybe we'll see things through her POV at some point. But yeah, I mean, if she was a story walker and she was able to travel, that would be a good explanation as to how she maybe escaped all this.
Yeah, and maybe we're going super tinfoil
Super
right now,
tinfoil.
right?
I mean, this is the theory stream, so
Right.
throw on the foil.
The craziest things, guys. Like the crazier, the better.
Yeah.
But to add to that, right? To get really crazy,
Mhm.
maybe it was there in front of her face all along.
Yes.
I like how you describe it of she was always there, but we didn't see it.
Yeah.
Because how do we find out about Eloise? We find out about Eloise through Victor's memory,
His memory.
where she was not there, right? Like she didn't exist at all.
Yeah.
And then they revised it. She was always there, but we didn't see her. I think
Exactly.
maybe that might be foreshadowing that is how she functions. She
Yes.
is there. We just
we're
don't
just-
happen to see her.
We're just not
at
seeing
that moment.
Yeah, and then maybe at one point we'll finally see everything through her
Yeah.
POV, where she does see all these things, a little bit like Weapons, where you're seeing
Weapons.
anybody who anybody who has not seen Weapons yet. My God, go out and see that film. Best horror film, not just of this year. That is the best horror film I've seen in multiple years. That is the
Mhm.
kind of horror I thought we were going to get in 28 years later.
Yeah.
Like I had such a high bar for 28 years later. This is the kind of movie I was expecting when that came out. Weapons is absolutely insane. And I love the whole POV, the way things are told from that POV. And I think that could be very interesting if one day we finally see Eloise's POV, where we're seeing how did she survive? We're seeing everything through her lens, and we finally get that answer. So yeah, I love to see that.
And if you like From,
Oh my God.
please watch Weapons. If you like From, Weapons is your type of movie.
Yeah.
And I would love for the entire family to watch Weapons
Love
so
to get
we
their
can
takes.
talk about it, right? I want you to tell me, like, what is the answer? Why did things happen the way that they did?
Yeah.
So please watch Weapons. Super scary.
Oh my God.
And I feel like when you have watched so many like horror films,
it's hard to get
it's
scared.
hard to get
It's
scared.
so hard to get scared these days. Yeah.
but that was actually scary. I like
Weapons-
screamed. I was like, oh my God, it's scary.
Weapons legit scared me a few times. There was a few points in that film where it legit scared me. Just saw Weapons on Friday. Awesome. Yeah, let us know what you thought about Elizabeth. Please, definitely let us know your thoughts. And anybody else too that's already seen it. It's, oh my God, it's so good. It is so good. Like I want to watch that movie 10 more times, and I'm probably going to. And I'll be doing a breakdown on it too at some point. So there will be a Weapons review on the channel pretty soon. Weapons and Together were pretty good. I haven't seen Together yet.
Together, it's that
that one that they
about
getting stuck
codependent
together.
relationships.
Yeah.
So I did Samuel. I saw the trailer for that, and they explained it as like codependent relationship final boss. And so I was like, okay, it's like a relationship thing. I'm not really interested in like romantic relationships like in a movie. So I didn't think it would be good. But if you liked it, yeah, that might be the next one I watch.
Yeah, the trailers looked interesting. I mean, I'm not like super into like the body horror stuff, like the stuff that's like super gruesome, and it seems like there's a good amount of that in Together, but I'll have to check it out because it does look intriguing at least. Perhaps Eloise Story walked into the future and will suddenly appear in the middle of town. That could be very interesting.
In the middle of town, spinning around
on
the little merry-go-round. And how old is she going to be? So that's a follow-up question, Nick. So if that is the case, do we see young Eloise, old Eloise? Are you aging as your story walking?
Yeah.
Probably not, right?
I would imagine you age at the regular rate like a regular human does, probably. Like even if you go back in time, I imagine you're probably your physiology is still the same, right? So I imagine you probably still age like a regular human.
Can you go forward in time?
Yeah. I think if she goes forward, I think if she goes forward in time, she might be able to see a different version of herself that's older. Because it seems like when Julie came back in time, there was two Julies. For that split second, we had this future version of Julie and our present version of Julie both in town at the same time. So I think we could see something like that, but I don't think it'll age them or anything or de-age them. but you never know with a show like From. But yeah, it's Weapons, guys. Check out Weapons if you haven't already. Best horror film of the year, absolutely. I think those were only 2, but in Victor's flashback scene, there are 23 bodies, and maybe one of them have their face torn off. But I'll have to go back and see. Yeah, someone said that only. I think Samuel said only Donna's sister and Eloise have ever been reported for having their faces like ripped off or torn or anything like that.
Mhm.
I have to go back and watch, but I could have sworn, I mean, he didn't have his face torn off, but I think Kenny's dad had a big gash across his face. Like it was like over here. Like it was, so I think his face got clawed, but it wasn't like peeled off by any means. But yeah, maybe they just don't always go for the face. Maybe it's just something they do once in a while. Who knows? Yeah, not seen it, but heard it's good. Yeah, it's really good. Weapons is really, really, really good. Yes, we are doing From theories. Any and all From theories. Everything is welcome. No matter how tinfoily it is, no matter how deep down that rabbit hole we have to travel, we are doing From theories tonight. Eloise is Sarah.
Oh, Fletcher.
Interesting. Eloise is Sarah. Now, how would that happen, I wonder? Because you would think if Eloise was Sarah, she'd be way older now, right? I mean, she'd be closer to Victor's age.
That's right.
So how could it be Sarah?
We have to cancel that out then.
I don't know.
I do know that I did see the family really like the interaction between Sarah and Victor.
Love it.
She was such a supportive character.
I don't think we get that beautiful reunion between Victor and his father without Sarah.
True.
Sarah 100% gave Victor the confidence he needed to go see his father. Those two are so good together, Victor and Sarah.
So seeing them together that way, you imagine that they have like a really good interaction, very loving, maybe like a brother-sister relationship. So I could see why that would be something that, you know, a vibe that you get.
Yeah.
But it's true. She would have to be his age.
She would have to be his age. Yeah. Unless something happened, whether through story, unless she story walked into the past and got stuck there.
Or but would she know, right? Sarah would know, and Sarah
would know. I mean, could it be possible that Sarah just doesn't remember she's Eloise, or could she be keeping a secret this whole time and just not telling anybody? I mean, I guess that would be my next question for everybody who thinks that Sarah could be Eloise. What's the mechanism there? How does that happen? And does Sarah know she's Eloise, or is it similar to Victor where it's a repressed memory? I guess. Let me know what you guys think. Definitely. I don't know. I'm definitely leaning more towards Eloise being alive. I feel like leaving something this ambiguous for this long, you don't do that just to reveal the character's been dead the whole time. Like that's horrible and lazy writing, in my opinion. And I don't see, when I look at From and John Griffin, one thing I don't see is lazy writing. Not often, once in a great while, but most of the time, not. Mm-hmm. So I do think she's around. I do think she's alive. I like the idea of her being a story walker. I think that's an interesting theory as well. But no, her being Sarah, I mean, it's a cool theory. I don't know how it would be possible, but still cool. A Life Ashore, still think Eloise is the one who broke the glass in the lighthouse by the fire. Also, it would be great. It would be a great finale of Julie story walking and running into Eloise for a team up. Yeah, that could be an interesting kind of little cliffhanger to end an episode or to end a season off on, where Julie is, because I definitely think in season 4, we're going to see Julie experimenting with her story walking ability. We're going to see her try and get a little bit better at it and a little bit better at it. She's going to keep experimenting with the story walking in hopes of getting control of it. And yeah, what else is she going to see on her journeys? She story walked, twice in season 3? And look at the big revelations we got just from that. We found out that she literally was the one who threw the fucking rope, for crying out loud. Like, come on, are you kidding me?
I was totally okay with that being magical. It got to the point where we were not... Right, everybody's great grief about the show. We're not getting answers. So it got to the point where I was like, I'm okay if I don't find out who threw the rope. but they pay attention to detail. They came back and they told us it was Julie. And we were talking about this, Justin. We were talking about this in Discord, actually, with Justin and Robert Saunders and Nick. It seems like Julie's downfall will be, as she's story walking, that she's always a minute too late.
Yes.
So we see that she's
Destined
like
to fail every
literally
time.
1 minute too late to save her father.
Yeah.
Also, we were theorizing there was a phone call that caused Thomas's death.
Oh my God, I love
Julie
that
made
theory.
that phone
I
call.
love
That's
that
what I
theory.
think.
Yeah, I like
I
that theory.
immediately thought it's Julie's fault, not her fault. She was trying her best. I think that she was calling.
I think she was trying to warn
Yeah.
them about Thomas's death, and she inadvertently caused
his
Thomas'
death. Yes.
Like, imagine the twist of fate that would be if you have this story walking ability and you go back to try and save your infant brother from getting killed, only to find out that you were literally the one
You
who
were the
caused
phone
his
call.
death the whole time.
Yeah.
That's fucked
Yeah.
up.
I think I'm almost 100% sure that it was her. It was Julie on the phone who made the phone call.
Mhm.
Because I started rewatching From, and if you go back to season 1, Julie doesn't know how Thomas passed away. Tabitha, as she's digging that great big hole, sits down with Julie and tells her about the phone call.
Yes.
Tells her about the changing table and what
Yes.
happened.
Yeah.
So she heard the story. She now knows he fell off the changing table. And she, in the diner, said specifically, as soon as she found out that she could story walk, maybe I can save Thomas
Yeah.
and Tien Chen.
Yes, Tien
Mhm.
Chen as well. Yeah, maybe that's going to be her arc in season 4, like experimenting with the story walking ability in hopes of going back and saving all these people that she's lost. Tien Chen, Kenny's father, even Thomas, Jim. That could be an interesting arc for her, but I like the idea, like you said, of her destined to fail over and over again, where she keeps going back and back and back, and every single time she's just a second too late, or for whatever reason the circumstances are just right where she can't affect a change, and she's just destined to see these deaths over and over and over again. That's a tortured existence. To have this power, to have this ability, but not being able to use it to save your friends and family, oh my God, that's the fucking worst. I'd rather not have the ability at that point. If you
Yeah.
can't use it, if you can't use it for good to protect the people you care about, fuck, don't even give me this ability then. You're just teasing me at that point.
You know what we were talking about, and I'm interested to know what the family thinks. So, chat. Julie was not a major character. In fact, a lot of people dislike Julie. Season 1 and season 2, one of the complaints that From had was that they didn't like Julie, whether it was her acting or her character. I know she was super bratty in season 1, but that was like her story at the time. She was supposed to be stubborn and bratty and a teenager.
Yeah.
But I do remember people didn't like Julie. Now, suddenly, if this is in fact true, the story becomes about Julie.
Yes.
She is at the center of the story, or a really big player.
Yeah.
And if she is, how do you feel about that? Would you be satisfied finding out that Julie is
a main character?
The main character.
The main character.
Like she might be the whole thing.
Maybe. I mean, I if it's a good story, no, I wouldn't mind whatsoever. I think because Julie was a very insignificant character. Let's be honest. She was a very insignificant character. She really didn't affect the plot a whole lot. She wasn't a huge player. And then with the stroke of a pen, over the course of one episode, she becomes this story walker character and instantly becomes one of the more important characters overnight, literally overnight. So now, it definitely seems like I don't see her ever becoming like the main character. I still think that's Tabitha. I think this is her story, ultimately. And I think, but I do definitely see her having a very important role to play now. Like now that she has the story walking ability, she has a very important role to play. Will she be the main character? I don't think so, but I think she will be a part of the main storyline for sure. For sure. But I don't know. What do you think? You think she'll be a main character? Like the main character? Think that's possible?
I think that, I was telling Robert Saunders, I was asking him the same question.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, after we have done all of this, would you be satisfied with Julie being the answer? I can see the evidence as to how that would be. Would I be satisfied with that? No. Like, I still want Boyd to be our main character. I want him to be the answer. I want Boyd. By the way, he must have some sort of ability because he also went back in time with
when he visited
torch,
visited Martin and he went into that weird place with the torch.
He was back in time.
Well, I mean, that place still needs to be explained.
Yeah.
That place very much still needs to be explained because when Boyd went into there, it did seem like Boyd was at a different time period when Martin. I mean, could that have been Martin's present that Boyd went in there and saw? Like, could it have just been the present? Maybe. But I don't know. That place still needs to get explained. That place is still super, super strange in terms of like, is this like a nexus for story walking, like a platform in which you can visit other places? Like, could Julie harness her story walking ability through this place? Maybe. And get to different time periods through this anomaly, whatever this place is. Maybe. I don't know. But I think Boyd is going to be vital to getting everybody out, but I don't think he's going to survive. I don't think Boyd will survive this show. I think he will die in a very heroic way, saving everybody and getting everybody out. I think Kenny will pick up where Boyd left off and finish the job for Boyd. I feel like they're very much setting up Kenny to be the man. And I love that. I really hope that's where this show is going. Like, Kenny's one of my favorite characters now after season 3. He got such good character development in that season. So now I'm very much expecting Boyd to lead everybody to the end, but I'm expecting Kenny to carry everyone over the goal line and actually get them out.
I mean, I have grown attached to Boyd. I've grown so attached to Boyd. I don't know if I could do the show without him. I want him to die at the last second, at the last minute, in the last episode, if he has to.
I think it'll be along those lines. Maybe not the last minute of the last episode, but I think when Boyd's death does come, I think it's going to come within the final 3 episodes of the final season. I think it'll be in the whole story for the most part, but I think he's going to die right towards the end, and it'll be a very noble sacrifice that he did to help everyone else. And I think Kenny will pick up from there on out and finish the job.
And you've always said you believe Kenny to be the one that will survive, for sure.
Kenny's the one character. Just me personally, I think Kenny is the one character that won't die. 100% will not die and will make it. Kenny's the one. The way they're setting up his storyline to take over for Boyd, the way he's grown, the way he's lost both of his parents, he's lost everything to this place. He seems like he's going to be the one character destined to survive and carry on and live with all of this for the rest of his life. Kenny's the only character I think is safe 100%.
I mean, I want to believe that would be Boyd, but
Boyd's goner.
Yeah.
Boyd's a goner. I think Boyd is going. Again, I think he's going to die heroically, and it'll probably be at the very end. But yeah, I think Boyd's a goner. But I guess we shall see. I could be 100% wrong too. Who knows? I could be 100% wrong. All right, let's see what else we got. We got Robert Saunders for $10. Thank you so much, Robert. Very much appreciate you, my friend. The paradox where someone travels back in time to prevent an event, but their actions inadvertently cause it. It's called the predestination paradox. Yes, Julie may have caused many dominoes to fall. And I 100% agree with you there, Robert. And I think that's what we're going to see. I think as she starts to master and get better at her story walking ability, she's going to go back and we're going to find out that there's been so many events that she's already influenced that we don't even know about yet. Like, a lot of people talk about the talismans. Where did the talismans come from? Did Julie have a hand in story walking at some point and putting the talismans there, knowing Boyd would find them centuries later? Who knows? little stuff like that, like the rope. The rope was a perfect example of that, the predestination paradox. Yes, Robert, I 100% think we're going to see a lot of instances just like that, where Julie has influenced tons of things that we don't even know about yet. And she doesn't know about it yet because her present hasn't experienced it yet. This present version of Julie hasn't experienced them yet. They have already happened because for her, time isn't linear. Time isn't a river that moves in one direction. She moves in a circle. So her time isn't linear. So there's tons of things that she could have already done that present Julie doesn't know about yet because her time isn't linear. So yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of that. I think we're going to see that Julie has influenced tons of events that have already happened in the first 3 seasons.
And to add to that, Robert, and thank you so much, so generous.
Very generous.
Predestination paradox. It reminds me of when Jade was having that philosophical back and forth with Tabitha, saying, are we actually doing something out of free will, or were we predestined to end up here anyway?
Yeah.
So he kind of mentions it. Is he mentioning it because it's a hint to the fact that, yes, this is a predestined future and circle that they have to look forward to, where it doesn't matter what they do, they're going to be stuck in the loop?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's again, they did something kind of interesting. I think Julie's storyline could be one of the more interesting ones now, or it could crash and burn super fast if they don't handle this time travel thing right. If they don't have a solid plan for it, I really hope they're not just winging it and filling it in as they go. And I don't think they are. I get the feeling John Griffin knows what he's doing here. But yeah, Julie's storyline makes me a little bit nervous because I feel like it could be super great, or it could become very convoluted, and I don't want to see that happen at all. And yeah, Boyd's Parkinson's is back. We're seeing him kind of prepare Kenny a little bit more and more throughout season 3 that, hey, I got the, like you said, I have a time clock, a ticking time clock hanging over my head. There's only so much time that he's going to be able to be Boyd, the Boyd that we know, functioning, strong, sound of mind Boyd. He's not going to be that forever. And yeah, I think Kenny's going to be there to take over for sure. For sure.
Yeah. And when you think about someone like Boyd, right, Samuel, Boyd is a strong man. Like, he's very competent, very strong. He's used to taking charge. His job when he was serving the country was to go to war-stricken places and to organize. So he thrives in chaos.
Yeah.
That was his specialty, to make order out of chaos, right? So a very strong, intelligent man who is capable. Unfortunately, when this sort of man or person, woman, whoever, gets Parkinson's or something that renders you unable to physically do what you do, that can break a person. The inability to be able to do what you're used to doing, which is fixing things. They want to break Boyd. That's probably the way to do it, to make him incapable of taking care of people.
Yeah. And it's always the worst for people like that, who are so used to having everything on their shoulders, are so used to being the ones that fix everything. It's a bigger blow to people like that. Yeah. This is an interesting one. Julie is the reason that the OG sacrifice happens because she ends up lost on that timeline and without possibility of traveling through time anymore. She needs to make a sacrifice to open that. Let's see if it's continuing. To open that. Okay, so Julie potentially story walks, goes and gets stuck. She gets stuck in the past and has to manipulate and concoct this sacrifice in order to get back, maybe? I mean, that's interesting. I don't know.
I think it raises an interesting question. The question being, if you could stop the sacrifice, but that would cost you your existence. If you stop the sacrifice, then none of this happened. She was never born. Her brothers were never born. None of them would have existed.
Yeah.
But you get to save these children. You get to keep anybody from coming and to from in the future. We have talked about the trolley problem, guys.
Yeah.
They have hinted at the
Yeah.
trolley problem,
Yeah.
which is, are you going to sacrifice someone that you care about, maybe even yourself, for the greater good of humanity?
To save everybody else.
Right? And we might be looking at a show that explains that in just like a more elaborate way.
Yeah, maybe I could see that. I could definitely see that, or like a version of that. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Jade and all his reincarnations end up turning Matt. I really, really hope not. I really hope not. I think a lot of them probably have. We're definitely seeing that trend. I mean, we still don't know a whole lot about Christopher, but the little bit of information we did get sounds like he might have gone down the dark path, gone a little mad. And this current Jade, I mean, he's halfway mad already. I think he was halfway mad when he first fucking got here, though. Like,
right? He's eccentric.
Very eccentric.
So we kind of have to take that into consideration. He's eccentric.
Yeah.
But he was also very secure, right? When he walked in, he said, "This is an escape room. It's hilarious to me."
He's so sure.
And he also told them, once he knew like this is real, like, you haven't figured it out, let me look at it, because I'm better than you, I'm smarter than you, whether you like it or not, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So he had this confidence. Jade going dark on a dark path or going mad, to me, looks like what he was doing when Tom intervened.
Okay.
He was smoking weed all the time and like drinking, to the point where he wasn't capable of doing much because he was just wasted.
Yeah, even Tom told him maybe sober up a bit.
And he's the bartender. When the bartender
When the
tells
bartender
you to
tells
sober
you-
up,
Yeah, you gotta time to look in the mirror at that point. Yeah. Jade's my favorite. I fucking love Jade. I love his character. I feel like the evolution that Jade has gone on as a character from season 1 to season 3, he's evolved the most. Like, he's come the furthest in terms of like growing and evolving from, we all saw how he was at the beginning of the first season. Like you said, he thought this was an escape plan. He thought this whole thing was literally just tailor-made for him and him only. That these are all just hired actors. The narcissism that goes with something like that. And of course, that's very common character trait for these kind of Silicon Valley billionaire tech fucking gurus. They're narcissistic. They all think they're the smartest in the world, like Jade. But Jade slowly starts to evolve, I feel, as the seasons go on, as you get to season 2 and even at the end of season 1, just within the first 10 episodes of season 1, Jade grows so much to Mr. Escape Room at the beginning of the season. And at the end of the season, we have all of a sudden Jade having this really beautiful heart-to-heart with Tien Chen about they come with you when you go. He grew so much just in that first season. And I like
that was a beautiful relationship.
Yeah.
Because she was the only person, Tien Chen was the only person that was like, I'm not taking your shit. Like, I don't care. Stop screaming. You're not going to go to the front of the line, right? Like, she knew how to like treat him in a way where he wouldn't act out. And he found that comforting, which is really interesting. Sometimes the people that act out.
Sometimes you need that. And
structure.
Yeah. And I think he realized he needed that in that moment. Like, before that scene happened, he probably never would have paid any mind, never would have even thought of that. But I think in that moment he saw, okay, maybe I need this like mother figure to like just whip me into fucking shape, telling me to get downstairs for fucking dinner,
And he never had that, right?
He never had that.
Which is also.
And his dad died we know that his dad died when he was super young.
Oh yeah.
He says that in season 3, like his dad died when he was like 10 or something, but we haven't really heard about Jade's mom yet.
No, but we know that he had to travel from France to the US. And he was alone. So I'm guessing that his mother also was not.
Maybe he wasn't in the picture.
Yeah, wasn't in the picture.
Because he talks about his grandmother, being with his grandmother.
Being the caretaker at the time when he was younger.
Yeah.
This is something that we have also kind of been talking back and forth in the Discord. Jade mentions to Tien Chen that when he was taking his flight to the US, he was so upset. He was crying. He was grieving. A woman came up to him and told him,
that's right.
they
That's
come
right.
with you when you go. And that created
That's how we got
such an impact, right?
Stuck with him.
So we were theorizing, nothing is there, right? Lines are not throwaway.
No.
They're not filler, not
No.
in from.
No,
They're not filler.
especially not that kind of line.
Yeah.
Like that was such a pivotal character moment for both
Yeah.
of them. Yeah, you don't throw in just filler lines there.
Who said that, right? We were thinking it has to be a story walker. Somebody story walked somehow into the real world, found Jade, and told him those words.
Maybe that's a question I would have. If someone's capable of story walking in Fromville, can they story walk in the real world too? Is this something that they can only do in Fromville because it's like a different plane of existence, and this place is known for giving certain people abilities? Like, did Sarah always have this ability to hear fucking things even when she was in the real world, or did this start when she arrived in Fromville? All of these people. Do these abilities work in the real world the same way they do in Fromville, I guess, would be the question.
Great question. And Pam Jam, you are cutthroat. The question was, would you sacrifice the kids in order to have your life, right? For your life to be spared? And Pam Jam says, every time.
Every time.
Cutthroat.
Maybe. Very cutthroat. Love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, would you sacrifice the kids to the kids in turn to have your life? Like, if it was the only way to like keep your life as you knew it, could you sacrifice 7 Onkui kids? Shit, I don't know.
I mean, they are the Onkoi children.
They are the Onkui children, but could I sacrifice?
Let's think about it.
Could I condemn 7 children to that just to keep my life?
Would you?
I don't know. It's a good question. Would you? Well, let us know what you guys think as well, chat.
Yeah, let us know. I mean, it's the trolley problem. So morally, your answer should be, I would not. There are 5 children or 7. How many is that?
7, I think.
7 children. I'm only one person.
Yeah.
So
our 7 lives more important than one.
Yeah, morally, you have to say, like, no, of course I wouldn't sacrifice them. But we all know that morality exists in this gray area where when it's you or your family member or your child, it becomes very complex.
Yeah.
But no, I wouldn't sacrifice them. I wouldn't. I have no problem not being here. Not just poofing away into non-existence.
I don't know if I can do it.
Totally
either.
okay.
I don't know if it, Samuel says no, life ain't worth living at that point. I mean, could you live with that, I guess? I don't know.
We do have Robert's theory.
Okay, let's take a look at some of these good Discord ones. I
have it on a message.
All right, perfect. Read it out if you want.
You can read it.
Okay, I will read it. Okay, now there's some really good stuff in this Discord, so we're going to take a look at some of it, starting with this one. It will come in parts. Give me a second. All right. Nick and I call this theory 4 times 5 is 12. Okay. I like the title. So this is a Robert and Nick theory. How many monsters are there, and do we need special math to arrive at the correct answer? If Fatima's statements are correct and the original parents sacrificed their children for eternal life, then at most there were 14 parents who sacrificed their children. If there are 7 ghoulish kids as seen in Jade's vision, and assuming each ghoulish child had 2 parents, none were raised by a single parent, then at most we were talking 14. So 7 times 2, 14 monsters, 14 parents. Original settlers who sacrificed their children and were cursed to live forever as monsters. In turn, if these 14 parents all became monsters, then this begs the question as to where did the additional monsters come from? And I've been wondering this ever since season 3 ended as well. We see down there in the cave, it looks like there's around 12 or 14 monsters down there, and a lot of people assume those were the parents, but I don't know if those were the parents that were down in the cave at the end of season 3, because one of them was the kid, the high school kid in the varsity Letterman jacket.
Yeah.
He couldn't have been a father of one of those kids. He's way too young. He was a teenager.
It was the 1950s.
Yeah.
But probably not, right? Probably
I don't
not.
think so. I don't think so. Even for the 50s.
And to add to that, the question about where did the monsters come from, we got the Wednesday Addams monster. We never had seen her before, right?
Yeah.
She's brand new. So she wasn't there. And suddenly at the birth, she's there. The Wednesday Addams monster. So it seems like the number of monsters is never a constant. We don't really know.
Yeah.
Who is all there. Cowboy was gone for a little bit too. He came back. They take breaks.
Yeah.
How many,
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I'd sacrifice Ellie to save humanity, though. I would too.
Ellie.
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 Last of Us.
You know what? I have so many problems with Ellie because so Pedro, I just call him Pedro in any film that he is. It's like, that's just Pedro.
He's just Pedro now,
whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Pedro saved her life and she was offended. She was so offended. So she would have liked that, Samuel. She would have thought that you were the best because she thought of him as the worst person that ever existed.
Yeah.
So she wants to.
Yeah.
And correction, Pam Jam said she would never hurt any kids to be alive forever. So
she was correcting herself with the everything. It was an asterisk. Okay. Good. Yeah. Pam Jam doesn't seem
I thought it wasn't in your nature, Pam Jam.
Yeah,
we
Pam
know
Jam,
you.
yeah.
You're so loving.
Yeah, Pam Jam doesn't seem the child murderous type, in my opinion. No.
Never
Pam Jam. But no, I think that's a very valid question. I think that's a question that a lot of us have had ever since this whole thing was revealed, where Fatima said that the original monsters were the parents. The parents of these children chose to sacrifice their children in exchange for immortality. And it looks like the immortality they got doesn't probably look like the immortality they thought they were going to get. But then the question is, where did all these other monsters come from? Because yes, we've counted. Mm-hmm. We've counted as much as we could anyway. And we've gotten well over 30 different monsters on the show that we've seen between season 1, 2, and 3. Well over 30. And of all different ages too. All different ages, all different sizes. Some look like fucking magicians and shit from like the 50s. One of them is that super old couple. That old couple that sits by the pool every night that Randall said. Like, because Randall kind of got a good look at their movements. He's the granny monster. Yeah. There is way too many for every monster to be a parent of the sacrificed child. Yeah. And that leads me to believe that the whole town got cursed. Not just these parents, the whole town. And I think that would account for all the different uniforms we see. A milkman. A wedding couple. We see a high school kid in his Letterman jacket. Like, we're seeing all these like weird kind of costumes on these characters. And I think that could explain that, where when the parents sacrificed these children, they weren't the only ones that it affected. It affected and cursed the entire town. Mm-hmm. I think that's probably one of the best explanations as to why there's more than 14 monsters. But I guess we shall find out. All right, where was I? Where did the other monsters come from? The art department released an aerial photo of Cannibal Village with 8 structures. That is so interesting, too, because in the actual show, we only see 3. When we're at Cannibal Village, we only see 3 of the structures. But there is that aerial view, and there's 8 of them, and they form the symbol, like from up overhead. Which is very interesting. 8 structures, and Geek Academy did a great video on the correct count of monsters. If you eliminate recasting of actors, because we have the nurse in season 2, the nurse in season 3, different actress, but most likely it's meant to be the same monster, just recasted. Jasmine, we haven't seen Jasmine anywhere since season 1, but presumably Jasmine monster is out there somewhere. Well over 14, without a doubt. If you eliminate recastings of the actor, then you conclude that there are 22 separate and distinct monsters, not 14. Yeah, there's definitely more. That I would probably say there's even more than 22. I think I've counted more than 22, but there's definitely more than 14 or 16, 100%. Thus, it seems obvious that there are more monsters than there are parents who sacrifice their children. How is this possible? What kind of voodoo math is this? Yeah, what kind of voodoo math is this? Of course, the simplest answer is that other townspeople who did not sacrifice their children were also cursed. Yes, that's kind of this. I think that's the simplest answer. In situations like this, I kind of like to go Occam's razor. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes the simplest answer is usually the right one. But who knows? This is from After All, so who knows? Townspeople that did not sacrifice their children were also cursed to live forever as monsters, since they did not choose to stop nor prevent the sacrifice from occurring. This also comports with Jade and Tabitha's reincarnation storyline. Yes, they tried to stop the sacrifice of their daughter and failed, and as a consequence, instead of being cursed to live forever as a monster, they were cursed with being eternally reincarnated until the cycle is stopped. Love that too. Love all of that. I think that is the simplest answer so far, anyway, just given the information we have up until now. Essentially, everyone in the entire town was cursed to either live forever as a monster or be reincarnated over and over and relive the horror of the original sin. However, we posit that maybe the number of monsters is actually tied to the greater mythos of From. And as Jim accurately stated, perhaps the answer is 12.
Interesting. How could that be? Tell me more.
Tell me more, yeah. When Smiley is reborn, there were 12 monsters in the cave if you include Smiley and exclude the kimono ghoul. Yeah, the kimono lady doesn't seem like she's a monster in the traditional sense. We're not quite sure what the kimono creature is, really. She seems more spirit-like. The kimono ghoul, who might be the real evil entity in charge. Yeah, and I think that's an interesting theory, too. I mean, we have this Man in Yellow character, and he's quickly shot up the ranks to a lot of people thinking he is the big bad, but what's up with this kimono creature? Where does she fit into all of this? You know, that still needs to get answered. And yeah, maybe she is the big bad. Who knows? Maybe it's not the Man in Yellow. One thing I love about the Man in Yellow was the interview we did with him on the channel.
That was such a great interview.
And it got me thinking, because the actor who plays the Man in Yellow was super cool. Came on, we had a nice chat, nice little interview, and when asking him about his character and where he thinks the future of his character is going to go, because he doesn't know, he has no idea where the Man in Yellow is going. That's the only thing he knows about the Man in Yellow is what we know. He knows nothing more. But he had an interesting idea that maybe the Man in Yellow isn't evil. Maybe the Man in Yellow, maybe there's something about the Man in Yellow. Maybe he did what he did because he had to do it. Maybe there's more to that story as to why the Man in Yellow killed Jim. Maybe he's not this evil kind of mastermind, this evil big bad. Maybe there's something a little bit more to the Man in Yellow. And I thought that was an interesting kind of concept, especially coming from the actor who plays him. This isn't just like a random fan theory. This is the actor who actually plays the Man in Yellow saying this. What if he's not all the way evil? What if he did what he did because he had to do it? And I always thought that was a very interesting concept, that maybe the Man in Yellow isn't just this inherently evil character. I like the symmetry of the Man in Yellow being the dark and the boy in white being the light, but what if it's opposite?
I like that, and that would be unexpected, right?
Yeah.
Who suspects a little boy dressed in all white that is
super
seemingly helpful?
Yeah.
And to add to that, if we're gonna go all the way with that theory, I think that his depiction, the Man in Yellow's depiction, shows us that there is a storyline here of having been great once upon a time, where the suit is yellow and bright. He's wearing a collar shirt.
Super vibrant. He's younger.
Put together.
He looks younger too. Like his hair's not white yet and all of that. Like we see that old one.
Yeah. And then we see the suit. He's no longer wearing that collar shirt, so off it went, right? He looks like he's in his undershirt. He's no longer young. He's tattered. He's dirty. So that in itself shows you he went through something.
Something happened.
Once upon a time, he was not this person. And I mean, I would also add to that, when you have great story writing, which I do believe that in From we have great story writing.
Yeah, for the most part, most of the time. Yeah,
we do. Yeah, a villain is not just a villain.
no,
They're
it can never
usually
be that
complex
simple.
people. They usually have gone through something. There's an origin story. There's a reason as to why they're doing what they're doing, right? And he also said, I tried to warn you.
I did try to warn you. Yeah.
I know that it sounds creepy the way that he says it, like
Yeah.
almost mocking. But if he said it with
Yeah.
another tone, think about if he just said, like, Jim, I tried to warn you.
Yeah.
You would be like, okay, that doesn't sound creepy. That sounds like you don't want to do this to me.
And that was the line Doug cited when he was on the channel.
Mhm.
I believe that was the line he
Yeah.
cited. He said, you know, he did try to warn Jim after all. And I thought, that's interesting. It's like, was that just like a mocking kind of warning? Or was that him genuinely trying to warn Jim that Tabitha should not be doing what she's doing?
Yeah. Knowledge comes with a
With a
cost.
Yeah.
Maybe that is his storyline. He
Maybe.
found out too much and it cost him.
Yeah. Maybe he didn't have a choice. Maybe playing that song summoned him in the sense where he had to fulfill his role in Fromville, maybe. But I mean, it's one thing to discuss fan theories, which are always usually good, but whenever a theory is coming from the actual actor who's playing that character, that's always very intriguing to me, because I have to imagine, as an actor, Doug has probably spent as much time as he can in the head, or trying to get into the head of this man in yellow. Who is this person? Where does he come from? What's his backstory and all of that? So for him to have an idea like that carries a little bit more weight than like a fan theory, I think.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was interesting, that even the actor playing the man in yellow brought up the idea that maybe he isn't evil. Maybe there's a little bit more there. As Star says, he's my hero, taking Jim out.
A lot of people were very happy with
Yeah.
that. And I must say, for the finale, it was great. It was so good, because
Oh,
I remember watching the episode and thinking, they have 2 minutes left.
yeah, what's going to happen?
We haven't gotten anywhere. Like, yes, they Nkui, they remembered, which a lot of us were not satisfied with the fact that Nkui means remember. The kids were just saying, like, Mom, like, remember me?
Remember. Yeah, that was a little disappointing.
Right? But it was also super simple, and I never saw remember as a guess. We
No.
guessed that it was like
No.
so many things.
Everything, like tree. I don't.
Mhm.
Taryn had a good theory where he thought
Yeah.
it might mean tree.
Tree.
And I thought that was a good one, because we know that in their last moments they were pouring all of their hope into the
To
tree
make a
above them.
tree.
So in Kui meaning tree, I thought would have been a good one. But yeah, and what gets me is, I get that they wanted it to be ambiguous. They wanted us to not know what the kids were saying, but you could have had all those creepy kids saying "remember," and we
Yeah.
still wouldn't have
We
known.
still would be like,
still wouldn't have-
"Remember what?"
Remember what? Like, we still wouldn't have known. So I feel like they didn't even need the Onkui word. They could have just said "remember" the whole time. And we eventually would have gotten the same reveal we got at the end of season 3. But I get it. Maybe they just wanted it to be a little bit more ambiguous. But yeah, the Unkui thing wasn't my favorite. Wasn't my favorite reveal, I guess I'll say. But who knows? Yeah, not the boy in white. He is not a little boy. Yeah, that's the thing. He looks like a little boy, but he is not a boy. Like he's no boy. We know that he has at least been in this form since with the earliest time point we see him is the 1978 timeline, when Victor's a child, and he's a little boy then. So at the very least, this boy in white is at least 50 years old,
Yeah.
maybe potentially a lot older, even, maybe, who knows. So yeah, he's not a boy, and Sarah, even they threw that dialogue into the show for a reason. I feel, when Sarah says, "I don't think he's really a boy," I feel like they threw that in there for a very specific reason. I think, again, I love the idea of this kind of cosmic chess game being played in the background,
Yeah.
good versus evil. And yes, at first glance, you might think you got man in yellow and the boy in white, good, evil. But what if it's the opposite? What if it is the opposite? What if the boy in white really is this nefarious being that is orchestrating all of this? Because we know that the boy in white has been the one orchestrating, or at least it seems like the boy in white has been the one orchestrating who can and can't use a faraway tree. He is
Yeah.
controlling that. No one's ever going to convince me that he's not controlling that, considering everything that's happened. Every time we see someone successfully use a faraway tree, the boy in white is involved. The only time he's not involved is when Dale uses it, and we see what happens to Dale.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, at this point, I guess I'm not expecting it, maybe, but I wouldn't be super surprised if we find out the boy in white is actually a villain, and he's been playing a long game.
I like it. I think that we also have precedent and evidence that that is, what it is. We saw him in the real world.
In the real world.
So if you are able to exist in the real world, why not prevent them at the tree? If you are the good entity, show up at the tree and be like, you guys, no. Or give them the answer, right?
Yeah.
He says to Tabitha, and this is when a lot of us said, oh, he's the good guy. Because a lot of us did not know what way to go with the boy in white.
Yeah.
When he pushed Tabitha and said, I'm sorry, this is the only way, and she makes it to the real world, we thought he's good. He has to be. Yeah. He saved her.
Yeah.
However, he did not save her. He just sent her to pick up Victor's dad and come right back.
Yeah.
So maybe he is playing with all of them. They're all just his chess pieces.
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised at this point. I don't know. Again, I don't know if I'm expecting it. I'm not going to say I'm expecting it. But I wouldn't be surprised. If the boy in white turns out to be a little more nefarious than we originally thought, it wouldn't be a big surprise at this point. All right. Let's finish this. The man in yellow was there to collect Julie, but Jim got in the way. Ooh, interesting, Bill Chill. That's an interesting one. I mean, who knows? Maybe. That's an interesting one.
I like it because we have made assumptions. We made the assumption that the music summoned him because he appeared right after the music.
Yep.
We made the assumption that he was there for Jim.
Yeah.
Right? He was very determined, though. So I will say that I tend to lean towards he was there for Jim.
I tend to lean that way, too, a little
Julie
bit.
was there, and he
kind of just pushes her to the side and then doesn't even pay her any mind.
He doesn't, right. So when Julie is on the floor, he could have gone for Julie or Jim. He goes for Jim.
Yeah. He kind of, Julie runs up to him and tries to stop him from killing Jim, and he just kind of shoves her off and doesn't even pay her any mind after that. But right when the man in yellow shows up, the first thing he talks about is, ooh, that Jade sure can play. He's talking to Jim the whole time. So I do tend to think he was there for Jim.
Yeah.
But no, I think I do think that's at least an interesting idea that maybe the man in yellow knew this future version of Julie was going to pop up here and he was waiting for her. That's an interesting idea too. But I tend to think the music summoned him. I think it was Jade playing that song that summoned the man in white.
That line, right?
Yeah.
That Jade sure can play. That invites you to believe that there is something magical.
Yeah.
In the way that he played.
Yeah.
And the music notes working this way, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it seemed like it was like that. I mean, the music, and they even went out. It's almost like they had this hunch that playing this music wasn't going to be good because they didn't want to play it in town. Remember, they thought, let's go out into the woods and play it just in case something bad happens. It won't happen in the middle of town. In hindsight, they should have played it in the middle of town because I get the feeling the man in yellow would have had a much tougher time killing Jim or anyone if it was in the middle of town. I mean, they're out there in the middle of the woods and the man in yellow can do whatever he wants there. So yeah, I don't know. But we shall see. I tell you, a real zoot suit is damn expensive. Yeah, why is he wearing a zoot suit? Someone said. I think Golden Child. Yeah.
The woman do like a color coordinated outfit, I have to admit. Yeah. And Robert, as a fashionista myself, I couldn't agree more.
There you go.
A color coordinated outfit at the time. If you were wearing a butter yellow suit, you were it.
You were the shit.
The ladies wanted you.
You were the shit. Yeah.
That was the look.
That was dapper.
So he's looking good for his time period. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Does he look crazy and like Big Bird to us now?
Maybe now. Yeah. Maybe now.
But at the time, he was the hottest thing.
Yeah. Yeah. If only 12 monsters, there are 12. Yeah, that's the thing. 12 monsters, 12 talismans. We know that there are 12 distinct talismans, and only 12 so far, anyway, which may be the hearts of the original parents. Their hearts turned to stone. Okay, monsters died and were reborn like Smiley to other villagers. Now, that's an interesting idea. If the parents all died and were born in a similar manner to how Smiley was born in season 3, like the villagers that were left over gave birth to these monsters and maybe turned in the process. That could be interesting, because that could mean maybe Fatima's going to turn.
Right. We still don't know if Fatima will be human.
Yeah, I think, or at the very least, I think Fatima is going to have some kind of connection to Smiley. Like we know that when she was giving birth to this Smiley pod, there was some kind of psychic link, some kind of they connected to each other to the point where she saw his memories. She saw the memories of Smiley, and that's how she found out that Smiley was one of the original parents that sacrificed their children. I get the feeling that connection isn't going to be gone. I think there's going to be this lingering connection between Fatima and Smiley, or maybe Fatima and all of the monsters, because it seems like all the monsters have a hive mind of sorts, where one knows it, they all know it, kind of.
They hold me. If it's not a hive mind, they're holding meetings. Because when they orchestrated Tian Cheng's death, they knew their places. They knew, like, you're going to go open the barn, we're going to go do this, right? So they were strategizing. There is strategy.
Oh, yeah.
We never see them talk amongst themselves, but I like that idea. I like that the parents' hearts turn into stone. I think it's very poetic.
Yeah.
And
well, it's poetic, and it's kind of the symbolism there is pretty interesting too, because you would have to have a heart of stone in order to be cold enough to sacrifice your own child.
Yeah.
So I like that, where your heart is turning to stone physically, but your heart is also turning to stone metaphorically as well. Your heart, I mean, what kind of a heartless parent can sacrifice their child?
Well, I invite you to like a thought exercise. So we hear this, right? And we are assuming the parents are horrible. They sacrifice their children because they promised them they would live forever.
Yeah.
Now, those words are very carefully chosen.
Yes.
We are assuming they sacrificed their children because they would live forever, that the parent would be the beneficiary of this like eternal life. How about if we look at it and assume the best? If we assume the best, this entity comes into a town and the children are sick. They are so sick that they're going to die. And it's all of the town's children.
Yeah.
Every single one of them is sickly. You see that their hair is falling out.
Yeah.
Maybe they had some sort of sickness already when the entity got there, and that's the state that they were in. And so he promised them, if you sacrifice them to me, your children would live forever.
Okay, and it's not their immortality that they were after. Maybe
they wanted their children to live.
Maybe they got tricked into this. And I do always wonder that, like, who convinced the parents to do this, and how and why? Like, that needs to get explained. Yes, we know the parents thought that we're sacrificing their children for some form of immortality, theirs or the kids. But we still need that explained a little bit more. How did they know sacrificing their children would get this result? Somebody clearly manipulated them into doing this. My initial thought was the man in yellow set this whole thing up, but what if it wasn't him? What if it was the boy in white that set this whole thing up? I don't know. I don't know. All right, let's get back to this.
You can go back to it.
Well, I can't. Yeah. All right, here we go. All right, where was I? Kimono Ghoul. Yeah, the Kimono Ghoul, we still need to find out who she is. There are two monsters at Smiley's birth that we have never seen before. I know the one, that lady. I think I have a picture of her too. That creepy lady, like she looked like a librarian, like a different librarian that we'd ever seen. Okay, now the bowling dude, we have seen him before. He's wearing a bowling shirt here, but this is actually one of the mechanics that kills Tien Chen at the beginning of the season. So this is a monster we've seen before. He's just playing, I don't know, he's in a bowling shirt this time for some reason, if that's the one you guys are referring to. Her, I've never seen before. Never seen her before in my life. Have no idea who she is. She's never been on screen before. I don't know if I recognize him, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if I recognize him. Yeah, I don't know. All right, let's get back to this. The bowling guy and the strict lady. Yeah, all right, because that's bowling guy and the strict lady. Likewise, if you look at the cave drawing, there also appears to be 12 stick figures. Yes, there are. In part of the mural where the 7 sacrificial stones, we do 7 stones for the 7 Onkui children. Right above it, we see the symbol. 10 stick figures are below the stones and 2 are off to the side. Yes, I remember that. Yeah, there's 12 there, but only 10 of them are in a line and there's 2 others, like over to the upper right. Yeah. Thus, there appears to be 12 stick figures in total surrounding the sacrificial stones and symbol, which may represent the 12 parents who sacrificed their children and 12 monsters who appeared at Smiley's birth. Likewise, upon further examination, there seems to be 2 stick figures right above the 2 stick figures. It repeats throughout that mural, and that I almost thought that was these are 2 people that are telling the story. Like, we're seeing these 2 stick figures and they kind of repeat throughout the whole mural. And part of me thought that was telling the story from left to right through the POV of these 2 stick figures. Who they are, I don't know. Now I kind of think that they might be the original version of Jade and Tabitha, but who knows? Who knows? The cave with the mural, there are 14 original parents. They would be separated from Sao. Where was I? Perhaps these 2 stick figures represent Jade and Tabitha. Yes, we're on the same page, Robert. We are on the same page. Maybe that's the original Jade and Tabitha. Jade Prime and Tabitha Prime. Did not participate in the sacrificial ritual during the first cycle. Then it makes sense that they would be separated from the sacrificial stones on the cave mural. If there were 14 original parents and 7 who were sacrificed and 2 parents did not participate in the ritual, then we are left with 12 cursed parents, resulting in 12 original monsters. Nevertheless, assuming Geek Academy's count monsters is correct, and I know that, there's definitely more than 12. Like, if you went back and counted them, I tend to believe him. There's definitely more than 12, though. That I do know for sure. There's more than 12 monsters. We've counted more than 12 ourselves. Math is correct, and we must question the age of the monsters. Teenager monsters seem too young to have the children, and granny monsters seem too old. Yes. And we must ask ourselves, are there other methods of creating monsters? I suspect Julie Randall and Marielle were turning into monsters. That is a big theory. We still have no idea what was happening to Julie Randall and Mari. What was that thing doing to them in that place? Like, we don't know why they were taken. All we hear is that once they're dead, it will be too late. But what does dead mean? Once their human life ends, it'll be too late because they'll be monsters at that point? Maybe, I don't know. Julie Randall and Mari returning into monsters in the dungeon, and that is the process to create additional monsters, but we cannot be sure. Yeah, it's an interesting theory. I think it's a good theory, but it's hard to know. Yet, since the number 12 seems to be so critical and important to the origin story of From, then we might need to follow Tabby's advice and circle back. Do we really have 22 monsters? In summary, according to Alice in Alice Adventures in Wonderland, she quits toxically, explains that 4 times 5 is 12. Also, that's where you guys got the title. Interesting. And I believe the writers have drunkenly agreed with her quote unquote math. The number 12, of course, has a very significant yet esoteric meaning on from. There are 12 monsters at Smiley's birth. We have 12 stick figures surrounding the stones on the cave mural. We have 12 talismans, which coincide with the fact that there are 12 main structures in town before the Matthews house collapsed. Ooh, interesting. Now that last one I didn't know. Jade was 12 years old when he lost his parent, when his parents died, and he went to live with his grandmother. Jim said the answer to everything was 12. Yes. The 4 digits, the 4-digit bottle tree converted into 12 scales of music. And perhaps, and per 12 scales of music, and perhaps most importantly, there are exactly 12 characters that have precisely 11 letters in their name, e.g. Jade, Donna, Khatri, Tian Chen, Kenny's father, Jim, Boyd, Abby, Toby, Megan, and Lauren, and Nathan Myers, Sarah's brother. Okay. Likewise, in my color theory, there are a total of 12 colors on a color wheel, 3 primary colors, 3 secondary colors, and 6 territory colors. And the 12 colors are represented on the show. Note, I will explain the colors in more detail when I post my full color theory. With that being said, it seems the importance of the number 12 is not only directly linked to the number of original monsters, but perhaps number 12 is the foundation of the entire mythos of From itself. Of course, the real answer may be as simple as the writers do not care about any accurate count for numbers of monsters, and background monsters are simply added to a scene as needed. I really hope that's not the case, but I sincerely hope not. Me too. I really hope that's not the case. Like Alice, Nick and I hope you enjoy going down this little rabbit hole, and please be kind to one another because we are all only on this planet for a blink of an eye. Love that last part, Robert. Absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, I mean, it's a good theory. I think it's a good theory. Obviously, the number 12 definitely appears to be incredibly important. But yes, they do need to explain why there's more than 12 monsters, because there is definitely more than 12 monsters. We've counted a few times, and definitely 12 monsters. Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea. I think it's an interesting theory. But they still need to explain it. They still need to explain why there's more than 12 monsters ultimately. But that's a good one. That's a really good one, Robert and Nick. 12 months, 12 hours. Yes, the number 12 is so important. I somehow feel like the sacrifice was mean for 12 kids, was meant for 12 kids, but only 11 were sacrificed, 4 plus 7, because OG Tabitha managed to save one. Was the original sacrifice meant for 12 kids? I mean, we do only see 7 on the blocks, 7 on Cooey Children, but was there supposed to be 12 originally? I don't know. I think it makes more sense that you have 12 or 14 parents with 1 kid each. So 7 kids, 14 parents in total. But yeah, I don't know. But it's a good one. It is a very good one. 12 disciples. Yeah, good stuff, guys. Very good stuff. There are 18 creatures on the From wiki page. Ooh, yeah, so at least more than 12, for sure. Definitely more than 12. The Promise to Live Forever has never been good. No, that never ends well. That never ends well. Could you actually ever see Smiley as an actual father? I don't think I can. I actually know I can't. Yeah, I can't picture Smiley being a dad at all. He don't know. He doesn't seem like he is father material, but I could be wrong. Kimono Lady is an omen, warning of something to come. I mean, she could be, but I found that it was very weird how involved she is with the monsters, because we haven't really seen entities like I suppose we have in season 2, where the monsters are starting to walk towards the RV and then all of a sudden they just stop. And then the entity appears in the RV like 2 seconds later, almost like the monsters knew the entity was about to appear. So there has been, I guess, some degree of all of these creatures working together, or at least maybe communicating with each other in the past. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the kimono lady, they definitely need to answer. They definitely need to answer the kimono lady. Man in Yellow convinced them, offer of immortality. So the Man in Yellow is like the Poltergeist 2 villain who tricked all those adults. I mean, I feel like they want us to think that. I feel like they want us to think that the Man in Yellow did all of this shit. But I'm not so, I'm just not convinced he did. Again, I don't know, maybe it's just because I have that interview in my head that I did with Doug, the actor playing the Man in Yellow, where he kind of brought up that idea that maybe the Man in Yellow isn't this big bad villain. Maybe there's a little bit more to him. So I kind of like that idea. So maybe I'm just becoming biased. But I don't know. Part of me is starting to think that it might not be as simple as just the Man in Yellow orchestrated this whole thing. That was my initial thought. I even did a video on that. Like right when season 3 ended, I think the first theory video I did for season 4, my first season 4 theory video I ever did, was laying out a possibility for the Man in Yellow being the orchestrator of all of this. So that was my initial thought right when season 3 ended as well. But I'm not so sure if I'm convinced of that anymore. I don't know. But I guess we'll find out. I guess we shall find out. I actually don't believe that Tabitha and Jim would have sacrificed their 2 children. No way. I don't believe that. And in a way, I don't believe the parents sacrificed their children because they wanted to. I mean, that's another theory that has been popping up for a while, that the parents sacrificed these children out of some other need. Like I like the idea of the kids maybe being sick, some kind of plague being visited on the town, and maybe they were led to believe this would save their town. You give up your children, but you'll be able to save the entire town type deal maybe, and they were tricked into it. I don't know. And yeah, it could be why the talismans repel them. I like the talisman heart idea, because I like the metaphoric kind of symbolic kind of stuff that comes along with it, that you would have to be a parent that has a heart of stone to sacrifice your own children, so that your heart literally turns into stone. And that's where the talismans came from. That's an interesting one, Nick. Yeah. I will say this again, the talismans don't work. A lot of people think that. A lot of people think the talismans don't really work and the monsters have just been pretending that they work this whole time. But I feel like we would have figured that out by now. I feel like they would have revealed that by now, and we would have seen the monsters walking into a structure at some point by now. But who knows? But yeah, that would be cool if Fatima gets the powers of the hive mind. Yeah, if she can kind of like tap into everything that the monsters know, that would be very interesting. But yeah, great theory. Nick and Robert, you guys are on to something incredibly interesting there. And I like it. And we're going to do more of these where we dive into these Discord theories, because you guys have been putting like some incredible stuff in there for a very long time. And I definitely want to go through as much of it as possible. I went and screenshotted a lot of it. So even if you guys continue to talk in there, I'll still have all the old stuff that you guys were talking about. So we're going to do another one of these. I'm going to do another one of these either next Sunday, probably go back to our regular Sunday streaming time next week. So we're definitely going to do more of these. We're going to continue to dive into these Discord season 4 theories. So definitely continue to throw them in there, guys. Do not hesitate. Do not be shy. Let us know your season 4 theories. Does not matter how tinfoily they could potentially be. We want to see all of them. And we'll be doing more streams on them. We got Robert Saunders for $20. Thank you so much, Robert. That is incredibly generous of you. Wow, thank you so much. Thank you for presenting Nick and my theory. You have built a very welcoming theory. I posted several pics of the talismans on top of Cannibal Village, and Nick and I would love to hear everyone's theory on that picture. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me get it from the Discord and bring it up. Let's see. Let me get it from the Discord and bring it up.
I send you the pictures he sent on the message.
Huh?
On your Discord messages.
Oh, all right. Let's see. Okay, here we go. All right, let me bring these up. And thank you again so much, Robert, for the 20. That's incredibly generous of you, my friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I like the Cannibal Village one. I didn't catch that myself, but then again, I hadn't seen an aerial view of Cannibal Village. In the show, we don't really get that. I don't think we get an aerial view of them in the show. I think they only show us the 2 or 3 that we see like at eye length. But yeah, I like the idea. All right, here we go. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Add these to that. Oh, come on. All right. Four items added. All right, let me refresh this and bring those up. Here we go. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's pull these up. All right, now this one I think is the most interesting one, just for me personally. I've seen these. I remember, seeing the 2 little stick figures that are just wet, like all throughout the whole mural. You'll see these 2 stick figures in different spots throughout. I always thought that was interesting, but this is the most interesting to me because I had no idea about this until just a few weeks ago. Because again, we don't get to see all the structures on the show. But if you look at the aerial view, and this comes from what I gather, Matt Likely, who is on the production team. I think he's the head of the production team of for the show. Like he builds all this stuff. And yeah, we see all of these structures. And if you lay the talisman symbol over them, you see a representation for just about every symbol with the main one in the middle. So yeah, what does that mean? What does that say about Cannibal Village? Who constructed it, and how is it closely tied to the talismans? Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting one. I don't know. But that was one thing I was very disappointed about in season 3. We got to learn nothing about Cannibal Village, unfortunately. And I feel like they were setting this place up to be like a super major location, kind of like the lighthouse was set up as a super major location. And then we just didn't really learn anything about it. I guess they're saving that for season 4 and 5 to like find out what really Cannibal Village is. But I was a little disappointed that we didn't learn more about it, and we didn't get to really see anything in terms of what was doing the knocking, like the knocking on the structures there. Jim and Kenny spend a night there. They hear knocking. Later on in the season, we see Jade and everyone else that are on the food run. They spend a night in the thing. They also hear the knocking. Every single time our characters spend a night in Cannibal Village, we hear this knocking outside. But season 3 didn't do anything with it in terms of giving us an answer. But that's interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Cannibal Village is a big unknown, really. Twins, stick figures, possible Gemini, Aquaries, fishes, and or Cancer crabs. I don't believe the talismans work. I never believed that they worked. Yeah. Some people believe that these talismans have never worked. That the monsters have just been pretending that these talismans worked, just to kind of give these people a false sense of security, and that's possible. But no, that's an interesting one. I like this. And hopefully we'll learn a little bit more about it in season 4, because they were very, very light on the info about Cannibal Village. And here we have the 12 talismans. And here we have Colony House. And, oh yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, plus the gas station and the barn and the school. So yeah, just in terms of residents, there's 12 residents. Okay, interesting. Interesting stuff, guys. Interesting research. And as always, you guys always find some really cool shit. Some really, really cool shit. Clock cycle, zodiac seasons, maybe. I think they end up as monsters, maybe. But yeah, great stuff, guys. Please, whatever you do, continue to throw this stuff into the Discord. Throw it into the tinfoil hat theory section or the Fromville section, either or. And next week, we're going to do another one of these where we dive even deeper into all of your theories, because there's tons that we didn't have a chance to get to tonight, but we will definitely get to them on the next stream, because you guys have put some really good stuff in there, and I definitely want to highlight as much of it as I possibly can. So we will definitely be doing another one of these next Sunday. But yeah, great stuff. Absolutely great stuff. Thank you so much, Robert, for the support tonight. Thank you so much for the super chats. Again, you and Nick put together a very well thought, well-detailed theory that has a lot of evidence backing it up. It's not just like tinfoil. There's actual evidence there backing a lot of it up. And yeah, whatever's going on, the number 12 is at the heart of this, for sure, 100%. But good stuff. Yeah, throw it in there. If you have a theory, throw it in there. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on this fine evening. We are going to call it an evening now. But again, throw your stuff in the Discord. Let us know, what are your season 4 theories? Where do you think the show is going? Who do you think the man in yellow is ultimately going to be? Will he be evil? Will he be a force for good? Or will he just be a natural force in Fromville that fulfills a specific function? Who knows? Yeah, Robert is awesome. Robert is an awesome writer. Yeah, he's got a way of delivering his theories in a way where it feels like you're reading a story, not just reading a theory. So I like that. Awesome stuff. And yeah, get ready, guys, because Alien Earth is just around the corner. We are going to be covering that here on the channel. We're covering Foundation Season 3 as well. We still talk a little bit about the Institute on our streams, but I'm not doing any videos on the Institute just because I just wasn't really liking it too much. But Foundation Season 3 is still going on, and Alien Earth starts tomorrow, and I will have my Episode 1 review up on the channel not long after. And I look forward to it. I think Alien Earth is going to be a phenomenal series. I've been looking forward to this for a very, very long time. The story looks phenomenal, and we're going to be covering it. So be on the lookout, guys, and definitely catch Alien Earth tomorrow on FX and Hulu, and it's available on Disney Plus as well. But big thank you to each and every one of you. And again, a huge thank you to you, Robert, for the support tonight. And big shout out to everyone who put a theory inside the Discord. Keep those tinfoil hats on, folks. Don't be afraid to dive into these rabbit holes. And we will see each and every one of you on the next one. Let's get this outro up. All right, take it easy, folks. We shall see you next week.
Please hide me around the rock. Please help me, Lord, all on the day. But the rough rider, I can't hide the rough rider. I can't hide the rough rider. I ain't gonna all on the day. Rock, what's the matter with you, Rock? Don't you see I need you, Rock? Don't you love all on that day?
When I was just a little boy, I asked my mother, what will I be? Oh, will I be happy? Will I be rich? And this is what she said to me. She said, que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. Future's not ours to see. No, no, no. Well, when I grew up and fell in love, I asked my baby what lies ahead. Oh, will there be sunshine day after day? And this is what my baby said. Sing it! She said, que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. No, no, no. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. David, out, man. Now I have children of my own. They ask their mother, what will I be? They say, will I be handsome? Will I be rich? Will I get to go to the camp in Peachtree City? I tell them tenderly, que sera, sera. Whatever will be. The future's not ours to see. Hey, 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 hey. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Hey, sera, sera.